So today we're going to talk about the writing process. Now when you hear the writing process, most of you probably think about the essay, but this process will also apply to creative writing as well. There will just be a few tweaks that you can make. Now when you're typically assigned an essay by your teacher, chances are they've also given you your topic, so that takes some of the thinking work out of it. But there is a lot of work that you can do, and it's not as difficult as it might seem. Keep in mind that the first thing you need to do, though, is decide what you want to write based on that statement or some keywords or just a given topic. And this is the process that we call brainstorming. You've probably heard this in your English classes in the past, but what does it really mean? What is the teacher actually asking you to do? Well, let's say your topic is essay writing. Brainstorming is going to be something that you do off the cuff. That's why they call it a brainstorm. It's a flurry of ideas just that come to mind, kind of like lightning striking. When I think of essay writing, I think challenge, I think thesis, I think conclusion. But what else? What else is an essay? An essay is a study. An essay is, it's a paper, it's a project, it takes work. All of these things come into play, and of course when you think of an essay, you may think, it sucks, it's hard, I might even fail. Now, are these realistic ideas? You may think so, but you know what? You're a lot better at this than you think, and here's why. All of these things that came to mind are perfectly reasonable things to say when you're talking about an essay. So we finished the brainstorming session. Now, you want to take your brainstorming list and do what's called a free write. Essays can be hard. In fact, they can just plain suck. Now I can keep writing about the fact that there are different challenges for each person. I can talk about what's challenging for me in particular. That's all well and good, but you're going to keep writing from this point. So now that we've completed our free write, what you want to do is take the next step, and that is organize. You want to organize your thoughts. You want to group similar thoughts together and things that might help to shape a paragraph. So maybe in your first paragraph you talked about them being hard to write. You talked about the process just plain sucking. You talked about research being a challenge. You talked about plagiarism. Or maybe you just talked about how to cite or quote information. So you want to talk about these things in one paragraph, these things in another, but you also talk about the process of research sucking, or at least being difficult. What that means is this is the way you're going to tie these two paragraphs together. You talk about the research being difficult at the end of one paragraph, but then you're going to continue talking about research, the thing you left off in the previous paragraph, but introduce it in a different way or a different line of thought. So basically what you're doing in the organizing stage is grouping your ideas together and getting the structure of paragraphs. Don't worry about writing a perfect paragraph yet. It's too soon in the process and you'll just find yourself getting frustrated because you're getting lost in words instead of lost in building ideas. And the ideas are what will form your paragraph. Now the next step is actually where you put your everyday skills to good use. It's the web search. Now, keep in mind that if you want to enter an entire phrase, you want maybe hard to write come up. Just entering in hard to write, all you've really told that web search tool is to look up the words hard, the word to, and the word write. If you wanted to look up this particular phrase, put it in quotes, and then the search engine knows to look up the phrase rather than the words. The same is true if you're looking for a proper name. Let's say you're looking up Matthew Campbell. You're going to look up key ideas, keywords. Now keep in mind that you're not just looking for weblogs here, you're looking for reliable resources, so articles or books. But an article that is written by A research, for example, is known as a scholarly or academic article. And if you go to scholar.google.com, it will actually specify in your search that you're looking for academic articles, and these are the ones that you're going to quote or cite. So the next step is revision. Now, revision is important whether it be an essay or creative writing. The only step so far that wouldn't come up in creative writing is probably Google, unless you want to make sure that someone else hasn't had your idea first. In the revision process, you're going to take your organized free write, and you're going to insert your quotations where they're applicable. It's important to remember, too, that when you're inserting a quote, that whatever that quoted person says should fit into the body of your essay as if it's your words, but you're giving them credit for it. What you're really saying is, I think this, someone else thinks this too, and here's why I think this, and they agree with me. Also, in your revision, you want to take out some of the ideas that feel like they just don't fit anywhere in the paper. It's not that they're a bad idea, they just don't work in the line of reasoning you've established in your paper. Now, when you've completed your revisions, you're going to write a good copy of your essay at this point. This is called your first draft. Now, you may think that the very first time you sit down is your first draft, but it really isn't the case. Your first draft should be the first version of your final copy. When you write your draft, the best thing you can do after you finish writing that draft is put it away. Don't keep working on it. If you keep looking at the same writing constantly over and over again, and what's wrong with this one sentence? Well, you'll get that sentence just the way you want it, but you've lost a lot of the detail, and maybe fixing that one sentence has really changed the way the whole paragraph works. So put it away. Give it at least a day. When you pick it up again, read the whole thing. When you read the whole thing, new ideas are going to occur to you, or you'll read something and think, what was I thinking when I wrote that? Teachers use red pen for a very important reason. It shows up. So you want to make some notes with a red pen, or even if you're writing with a blue pen, use a black pen. Now here's something everyone likes. You're going to treat your audience like they know nothing. When you write a paper, you are the expert on whatever your topic is. You need to talk to your teacher like they don't know anything about it. If your teacher finishes a sentence and their note is, but what about this? Then that means you talked to them and left an open idea, or introduced an idea but didn't do anything with it. Now we've reached our final step in the writing process, and that's publish. So what you're going to do is take your final draft with all of your revisions, including your quotations, and you're going to type it up. Food for thought. See you next time.